Hey guys, okay, so I'm going to be showing you a color touch-up process. I have the mannequin sectioned off into 4 sections. I'm not using actual color today, I'm using mock color. I just have conditioner in here. If you are practicing for state board or if you're just trying to get the process down, practice with mock color, and that way you don't have to go in and do color corrections later on with your mannequin. With this one, I went ahead and put a color protectant around her face. You have to use protective cream, so you can use Vaseline, cholesterol, whatever you want. I went ahead and put it just goes all around the hairline, and this is for client protection. This protects the client from color stains, chemicals on the skin. Some people have really sensitive skin, so they react differently. And we're just going to go ahead and get into the process. I also like to keep a towel or something kind of on hand to wipe my hands on when I'm doing any color process. That way, if I get it on my gloves and I need to touch another part of the hair or move it around, I can just wipe my glove off. That way I'm not putting color in areas where I don't want it. So I highly recommend just having a towel or a wet towel or something to wipe your hands off on as you do color processes. She is just in 4 sections, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And the first thing that we're going to do is outline the quadrants. So I'm going to act as if she has 1 inch of regrowth that we need to touch up. And I'm just going to go in and bring this out about 1 inch all around this quadrant. And this should be a pretty fast process. You shouldn't spend a lot of time on color retouches, because a lot of the times it's gray coverage, or maybe they're just trying to make their color more vibrant. But you need this to process pretty evenly on the root area. And I'm getting this to the scalp. This isn't like lightener. When you're working with color, you want this to go to the scalp. When you're working with lightener, that's a different ball game. It processes differently, but make sure that you're getting this to the scalp. That way you don't have any regrowth showing after the process is done, because there will be nothing worse than paying to get your roots touched up and leaving with some roots. Also, make sure that anytime you're working with chemicals, that you are doing a chemical drape, which is towel, cape, towel. There should be another towel on the very top. When Amy and I did our perming video, we were limited on supplies, so we didn't have the chemical drape. We had towel, cape. But before we would process any chemical or add a chemical to that perm, we would definitely do a chemical drape. Let's see, we're gonna turn her this way, and you can kind of see what I've done through there. Okay, so now that I've got all 4 quadrants outlined with color, I am gonna go back over here where I started and I'm gonna work in 1/4 of an inch horizontal sections to apply this color. That means got hair stuck to my face. I'm gonna be going in here. I use my color brush to section off the hair. If you can do that, you should, because the less things you have to pick up, the more time you're gonna save. So I just use the tip of my color brush and I come in here and I take about 1/4 of an inch out. If you cannot see through this section, it's too thick, because there's no way the color can fully saturate up here if that section is thick. So it's really important that you get good subsections to work with. And I'm just gonna bring this down, like I said, about an inch, because we are acting like she has an inch of regrowth. And I'm gonna apply it on the top, go under, and do this. That way I know I'm fully saturating that. And I'm just gonna let that hang. Take this down, go back in there and do the same thing and just work my way up. Now, a mistake that a lot of people make with color when they're doing a color retouch is they feel like they have to run the color through the ends of the hair. And the problem with that is color on color goes darker. So if you are doing a retouch and you get this all over the root area, the regrowth, and then you come in and you've got color left and you decide, oh, I'm just gonna freshen up the ends, and you put the color all over the ends and you run it through like that, it's gonna darken the mid shaft to the ends. That color is gonna look a level darker, and I mean, it could even look darker than that. So you don't want to pile up a lot of color on that mid shaft and on the ends. If the color has faded, say the client's not using the proper shampoo, the proper hair care products, and sometimes it's not the client's fault. Sometimes it's the water supply that they have. If they have well water, that can deposit minerals. So if something like that's going on, maybe they take a medication and it's hard for their hair to hold color, then you might need to freshen it up. However, if you're working with permanent color, you don't want to leave that all on there at the same time. So if you need to freshen something up, maybe the last 5 minutes of the color process, run it through the mid shaft to the ends and just give it some more vibrancy and some more life to it. And I'm literally just gonna do this exact same thing to her whole head to do a color retouch. I always follow the instructions on the color. Every color line is different. They're not all the same. They don't all have the same instructions. Generally, they are mixed the same, but it could be different. So always look at your box of color to see what the ratio for developer and color is, what you should be mixing. Don't assume it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It may not be. And then always look at the timing instructions, because it's different when you are doing color retouches on someone who just needs to up their color, or maybe they need to darken it, versus gray coverage. Gray coverage usually takes more time and it needs to sit a little bit longer. So pay attention to that. Some colors can go under heat, some cannot. Some can be applied to damp hair, some cannot. So always read your instructions. And if you have any questions doing any color processes, feel free to email me and let me know, and I'll be glad to talk to you or do another video for you. Thank you.